So the other part about this is that we've layered the sessions in a specific order because they each build as like Lego building blocks. They each build on the previous session. And the keynote session comes first, talking about community. And then the second session, that is the what we're calling the first core session, is given by Kelvin Tegelaar. And it tries to capture that moment when you're like stuck on a problem and you get the guy next to you to give you a fresh set of eyes. Or, if you're stuck in a game, like a word game, and you need to shuffle the letters because you can't find the word. So what that does is it changes the perspective and gives you, like, it resets your tunnel vision and gives you a fresh perspective on what's in front of you, and then allows you to solve the problem. And it's literally called Beginner's Mind. That is the first session, second session that we're going to be doing as part of the core sessions. And that's going to be talked by Kelvin about the perspective of how do you achieve that beginner's mind, how it's helpful to you, and ways and tips and tricks in order to use it so that you can clearly start fresh when you run into a problem and then properly start troubleshooting it. The third session that we're going to be doing is about critical thinking. Like, once you're starting from a clean slate, once you have that reset perspective, how do you actually work through a problem? That critical thinking aspect. And I'm not going to tell you who's doing that one because they were not announced. But that session will give you the skill to actually start solving the problem once you've approaching it with a fresh set of eyes. The fourth session is basically about how do you make sure that the decisions you're making, that when you get the problem, you reset your perspective, you start working to solve it, you have to start trying things. How do you know that what you start trying isn't going to mess you up? All right. So, like, it's literally called the defensive mindset. How do you make sure that the things you're about to do are not going to cause a bigger problem? And again, it's all layered on top of each other. Again, this speaker was not announced, so we won't talk about who. The next session is how do you take that problem-solving thing that you just did, and how do you take that assessment you just performed to say whether or not it's safe, and then turn it into a repeatable process on abstract? Basically, it's the automation mindset. So it's basically if there's something that can be done faster through automation, you want to stay aware of it. You want to be aware of that so that you can make your work more efficient next time. If there's something that you can turn into a repeatable process and then document it for someone to follow next time, you want to be able to do that. So it crosses both developing scripting, but also business processes and stuff like that. How do you abstract something and make it an efficient, repeatable process? And that's the automation mindset. The automation mindset, so the reason why it's in this order is because the automation mindset, you don't want to do anything at scale unless you're sure it's not going to mess anything up. So the defensive mindset is used to make sure that what you're about to do is going to work. And how do you extrapolate from a one-time run into a multi-time run without causing the world to explode from under you? Like, for example, pushing update all within a unified controller. Like, that's a bad idea. And then the next session is the self-motivation. Like, at this point, we get that imposter syndrome is a real thing. It's something that everyone goes into, including myself, including Kyle. I know everyone gets into that moment of time when it's like, am I really in the right job for this? Am I in the right place? Do I really know what I'm doing? Do I deserve to be here? And
am I good enough?
Am I good enough for the place I'm in right now? Yeah. And so we want to make sure that we don't scare anyone out of their jobs. We want to make sure that we don't scare anyone out of the room, right? Like, it's a lot of scary stuff that we're going to be talking about, automating and defense and paranoia and risk assessments and all these crazy things, beginner's mind. We want to make sure that we're not scaring anyone out of the room or out of the job or out of the industry. And we want them to know, like, when you have that feeling, you have to know and keep in mind two things. Number one is that everyone gets that feeling 100%. If you don't have that feeling, you are not progressing. because then you're comfortable where you are and there's no room to grow. So one, identify you having that feeling and understand that it's not an unusual feeling. Number two, take that feeling and use that to motivate you to then learn the things you need to do. So that's why we're focusing on that. That's self-motivation and the imposter syndrome, how to use it to empower yourself to learn the role you're in and keep growing.
Mental health is super important, especially in this day and age.
Yes.
And we wanted to make sure that we hit that button.
And then the last and final sessions ends with where we started, and it goes back to community. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the community is how I grew, and I know it's how a lot of other people grew. I get the feedback all the time from all the members.
This is the website. Our ticket for early bird is $3.99. We are tech focused. Here's our conference schedule. Here is an overview of our event. This is a PDF that you can download and submit. This has got all about the conference, all the information. You have the basic information here. We have an ROI listing. We have some things you can talk to your supervisors about. We have some other documents we're coming up that will be one-pagers that you can provide your supervisors to make sure that...
I think we have a templated email you can copy and paste.
Yeah,
and just
we
send
do.
it to your supervisor. Is that on the PDF?
I don't think it's on this PDF, but we have it coming. So it'll be on the website as soon as we get it finished. This is the full agenda. We have our sponsors listed here. They are fantastic. We have a couple of pre-days happening. Huntress is doing a pre-day. OIT is doing a keyboard build. Tier 2 Tickets is doing a pre-day, and so is Roost. These are all free. If you happen to come in on Sunday and you'd like to register those, you can select them when you purchase a ticket. Day one, we have our keynotes. Day two, we're going to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we go into our full actual breakout of what the actual agenda is. We're going to have a late lunch on the first day. It's packed full in the morning. And then we're going to have lunch with the vendors. You can socialize, hang out, make sure that you can stop by their booths, learn about their tools and what they offer. It's super important because they're the ones who help us put this on. And then we have our breakout sessions in the afternoon. You'll be able to select any session you want to go to. If it does fill up, we will have to turn people away. There is a limited seating. I think it's about 100 per. For at least two of them. That is they're free to come and go as long as they're not full. After that, we'll have a dinner hors d'oeuvres thing in the vendor lounge again, where we had lunch. We'll hang out in the vendor hall, have some conversations. You can still continue to meet up with vendors. You can browse the hall. You can have conversations, set up demos, whatever. And then we go into day two, which we have breakfast, and then we kick back into our core sessions, talking over what Mendy did earlier. And then we have lunch at a normal time, and then we have the final breakout sessions for day two, and then we have the MSP Geek After Hours party. To those who haven't been to a conference, generally we like to close out with a fun event, and we're still working on the details of that. As soon as we have more information, we'll let you know. But that is the full agenda. It's a lot packed into a little time frame. Early bird pricing ends February 28th. Get your tickets now, and then immediately book your hotel room.
MSPGeekCon, a conference for MSPs by MSPs, coming May 21st through the 23rd, 2023 in sunny Orlando, Florida. Visit MSPGeekCon.com to find out more and buy your tickets now.